Good day and welcome to your Government in Action, a proud presentation of Bahamas Information Services. I'm Joy Burns-Roger. Promoting leadership in young men, Governor General, Her Excellency the Most Honorable Dame Cynthia Pratt, officially opened the second annual Governor General Boys Retreat on February 19, 2026 in the ballroom at Government House, welcoming school-age boys from the Providence, Grand Bahama, and the Family Islands.
I am delighted and simply put, overjoyed that this second annual Boys Retreat and Conference is finally here. There is no secret that I have a deep passion for our boys. As I recognize the unique struggles and distractions they face, yet, despite these obstacles, I hold fast to a vision of hope and optimism. It has always been my lifelong desire to see the young men thrive and succeed in life. One of my deepest desires has been to create opportunities that empower youth to rise above the challenges and embrace their full potential. Out of this passion came a bold vision to host the Governor General Boys Conference that would serve as a vehicle for inspiration, growth, and support. Last year, that vision became reality with our first ever Boys Empowerment and Enrichment Conference. It was indeed deeply pleasing and humbling to witness the idea come to fruition and to see our young boys touched by the experience. Ladies and gentlemen, boys, I am even more excited about Conference 2026. This year, we have closed for a theme, moving forward. This theme is a call to action. As I reflect on this year's theme, I cannot help but think of a young man in the Bible whom the prophet Samuel was sent to this home because God was about to choose a king for the nation. And when the prophet arrived, the father brought out the other sons. There were 7 of them, but he brought out 6. The question was asked the father, is this all of your sons? He said, no, there's one more. But you can't mean him. He's out there with the sheep. He even smelled like sheep. You can't mean him. He said, bring him in. And when he brought him in, he said, that's the one. That's the one. the one who everybody is looking down on. That's who God has chosen. You are the one. Are you hearing me, boys? You are the one. You are somebody. You believe and you belong. You have a right to be here.
And now we invite you to take a look up north with us with Andrew Coakley and our Northern Service.
The 2026 Grand Bahama Business Outlook came to the second city in an environment of expectation and anticipation. Opening the one-day conference was Prime Minister the Right Honorable Philip Davis, who met those expectations as he laid out more specifically his government's plans for not just revitalizing Grand Bahama's economy, but plans to help to create a new Grand Bahama. During the 2026 Grand Bahama Business Outlook, Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis said that in order to move Grand Bahama forward, there has to be significant changes in the way the island is managed. He said if the choices that are made does not make life more hopeful, then those making those decisions are not being serious.
So I'm not speaking at you this morning from a distance. I'm speaking as someone whose own life was shaped here, who knows how much has been lost, and who still believes that this island can move from nostalgia to possibility. The world that formed the old Grand Bahama is gone. We have to accept that. For 30 years, the global script was familiar. Money was cheap. Interest rates were low. Trade expanded. You could almost convince yourself that progress was automatic. The script has ended. Now capital is selective. Interest rates have a real bite. Climate events erase assets overnight. Financial networks and supply chains are used as tools of power. Technology keeps changing where value is created and who captures it. For a small island like Grand Bahama, the margin for error is thin. We feel every hurricane. We feel every dip in tourism. We feel every jump in fuel prices. In that world, doing nothing is the riskiest strategy of all. And that brings us to the choice facing Grand Bahama. There are two models on the table. The first is the old model. It was forged in the 1950s between a colonial governor and foreign investors. It gave extraordinary concessions and wide powers to a small group of investors in the hope they would build what government could not. And they did build. The harbor, the early hotels, the industrial area, all that came from that bargain. But the weaknesses were present from the start. Authority ceded without enough accountability. Decision-making concentrated in a few hands, with Bahamians being absent from the table. Over time, that structure hardened into something else. We have allowed corporatocracy to happen here, a system in which corporate interests and private arrangements became more powerful than public institutions and the people they are meant to serve. In that corporatocracy, the question is not what is best for Grand Bahama, but what is acceptable to a small group of companies. Too often, national governments, local leaders, and even business chambers went along, sometimes out of fear of disruption, sometimes out of habit. That model asks you to believe that if you touch anything, everything will fall apart. That the safest thing is to tolerate services that are not good enough, prices that are not fair enough, and explanations that are not clear enough. The second model accepts that the world has changed and Grand Bahama must change with it. It says that this island is not a private enclave. It is part of one country. The national government cannot stand outside the fence while the system underperforms. Energy, airports, ports, and land use are essential infrastructure. They affect public safety, the cost of living, and competitiveness. In the second model, the people who live here have a much bigger say in how their island is run. The business community is a partner, not a spectator. Public institutions are expected to be competent, transparent, and accountable. My administration has chosen that second model. To choose it, we have to be candid about some myths that have stood in the way.
During his address to the business community of Grand Bahama, Prime Minister Davis went into specifics about the government's plans to acquire Emira's shares in the Grand Bahama Power Company, a move, he says, that will eventually lower power bills for Grand Bahamians.
Here's where I stand, and here's where I want to connect very directly with your lived experience. Every month, Grand Bahama residents and businesses open their power bills, and they feel the cost. The numbers are stark. For a residential customer using between 351 and 800 kilowatt hours, the base rate charged by Bahamas Power and Light, that is the national energy supplier, is 11.95 cents per kilowatt hour. The comparable base rate for Grand Bahama Power here in Grand Bahama is 22.87 cents, almost double. For usage above 800 kilowatt hours, BPL's rate is 14.95 cents per hour. Grand Bahama Power is 27.31 cents. On top of that, where BPL only has a fuel recovery surcharge, Grand Bahama Power has a fuel and storm recovery surcharge. In practical terms, a family using 800 kilowatt hours a month can easily pay $50 to $60 more on this island than a similar family in New Providence before fuel and storm recovery are even added. The gap between BPL and the power company here shows up in fees as well. That same family, and when we talk about 800 kilowatts of usage, we're talking about the vulnerable amongst us. That same family pays $20 to be reconnected by BPL, but $30 to be reconnected by the company here. A requested meter test costs $15 in Nassau, $50 here. A temporary disconnection costs $15 by BPL, $50 for Grand Bahama. If we go behind those statistics, they are one of the reasons many of you feel that you're working hard, yet getting nowhere. So when a chamber or a commentator says, leave the existing arrangement alone, government will only make it worse, I ask a simple question: worse for whom? That is why we have decided to change the structure. We have signed a memorandum of understanding with Grand Bahama Power Company to explore a transaction through which the government would acquire Emira's shares in the company. When completed, it will be the first time since the Hawksbill Creek Agreement was signed that the government of the Bahamas takes ownership of a major power utility company on this island. And we are doing this for three reasons. First, to open the door to universal electricity rates across the Bahamas, ending a long-standing disparity between Grand Bahama and the rest of the country. Second, to allow integrated national planning of energy investments instead of fragmented decisions that leave one island as an outlier. Third, to align energy policy with the needs of Bahamian households and a modern economy instead of forcing policy to fit an old private structure. This is not about control for control's sake. It is about fairness and competitiveness.
For Your Government in Action, I'm Andrew Coakley.
The Pan American Health Organization, along with the World Health Organization and the Ministry of Health and Wellness of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, have signed a country cooperation strategy 2026 to 2031, outlining PAHO's technical cooperation with the Bahamas for the next 6 years. The signing took place at the Office of the Prime Minister on February 17, 2026.
Today is a landmark moment in our country with the signing of this first country cooperation strategy with the Pan American Health Organization. We are formalizing a partnership that strengthens our country's system and advances our vision for a healthier nation. By signing this document, we are formalizing a shared commitment that our administration has with the Pan American Health Organization to provide progress in health resilience and equity in our islands across the country. Through this strategy, we are prioritizing a stronger, more integrated, people-centered healthcare system focused on health equity and access to Bahamians, irrespective of where they live in the country. Improve health and well-being of our people to focus on stronger delivery of primary healthcare systems from Inagua all the way to Grand Key. To improve prevention and control of communicable and non-communicable diseases that are of great risk to our population, inclusive of mental health services. We also have in the document enhanced disease surveillance and emergency preparedness in our response to climate change and climate vulnerabilities. I wish to take this opportunity to thank Dr. Barbosa and the Pan American Health Organization for their continued partnership and technical leadership. PAHO has stood with the Bahamas in times of great challenge, and today we move further together with an even clearer framework and cooperation. This strategy aligns with our administration, our development agenda, and our commitment to universal health care coverage by way of national health insurance. It supports our people-centered approach for health and shared responsibility in delivery of healthcare services. Ladies and gentlemen, let today mark not just a signing of a strategy, but the beginning of a new chapter in public health advancement for our country. Together with the Pan American Health Organization, we are not only building a better country, but we are making it safer, healthier, and more resilient.
More of Your Government in Action when we return. Welcome back to Your Government in Action. I'm Joy Burns-Roger. The Division of Culture proudly hosted the National Junkanoo Legends Circle induction ceremony at Government House on February 17, 2026, under the patronage of the Governor General, Her Excellency the Most Honorable Dame Cynthia Pratt, and the Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture, the Honorable Mario Boleg.
It is indeed a privilege to welcome you to this distinguished National Junkanoo Legends induction ceremony. Tonight we gathered in celebration of tradition that is not only a festival, but a living expression of who we are as a people. We are honored to be in this presence of cultural icons, master craftsmen, visionary leaders, and devoted practitioners who have shaped the story of Junkanoo across generations. This evening, we proudly induct 21 outstanding individuals into the revered circle of Junkanoo legends. Each of them has demonstrated extraordinary commitment, creativity, and perseverance through long nights in the shack, years of disciplined practice, mentorship, and leadership. They have strengthened and sustained one of our nation's most treasured cultural expressions. Their contributions have not been fleeting. They have been foundational. They have preserved sacred traditions, refined artistic techniques, and mentored young Junkanoos, and carried the banner of Bahamian culture with dignity and pride. Because of their dedication, Junkanoo has not only endured, it has evolved, flourished, and inspired. Tonight is more than a ceremony of recognition. It is reaffirmation of our collective cultural responsibility. Junkanoo represents resilience, ingenuity, rhythm, artistry, and unity. It binds communities, bridges generations, and reflects the soul of the Bahamas through its music, movement, craftsmanship, and pageantry. As we celebrate these new legends, let us also recommit ourselves to protecting and advancing this culture inheritance. The work they have done challenges us to continue building strong structures, nurturing emerging talent, and ensuring that the legacy of Junkanoo remains vibrant and relevant for the future. To our inductees, I extend sincere congratulations. Your years of service and sacrifice has elevated this art form and strengthened our national identity. Your legacy will continue to echo in every drumbeat, every whistle, every choreographed step, and every brilliant crafts costume that takes to streets of the Bahamas. To everyone present this evening, thank you for joining us in honoring excellence, persevering heritage, and celebrating the enduring spirit of Junkanoo. May we continue to cherish, protect, and proudly proclaim this cultural treasure that defines us as Bahamians.
The Bahamas Customs and Excise Department drill and deportment module completion took place on February 20th, 2026 at Customs Headquarters. A total of 78 trainees participated in the Customs drill module, which also included the Comptroller's inspection parade.
I want first to congratulate this fine group of young Bahamians who have chosen as a career customs services. Customs Department, as you would all know, is as old as mankind. For those of us here in the Bahamas who follow the Christian tradition, we know our patron saint is the Apostle Matthew. There's another person in Scripture that they like to associate with it. He was young, he was short, he climbed into a tree, but he was not a Bahamian. We are fishermen, and our patron saint is the Apostle Matthew. I want to congratulate also the parents of these young people who have joined the Customs Department. You have joined the Customs Department at a very exciting period within the life of our country. I say exciting because you are no doubt on the edge of that period when we're going to be collecting customs duty as a source of revenue. Most of you, no doubt, would live long enough to know when customs duty is going to be a thing of the past. You've seen the introduction of value-added tax, and I believe that you have heard of other things in the media. But until that time arrives, you're going to be responsible for a large portion of the revenue to run this country. You ought to feel proud, but your drill this evening is about instilling within you discipline as well as national pride. As a department, we have come a long way. 20, 30, 40 years ago, no one dreamt about having a drill in the Customs Department. As I aforementioned, you are only the second cohort to have done so. But I can assure you that it's going to be a part of the life of the training of every customs officer who is going to be coming into the department. We wish to thank our friends from the Royal Bahamas Police Force who have assisted us last year and this year. And I speak specifically today of Inspector Thompson. I believe he deserves a round of applause. Inspector Thompson's assistance demonstrate to all that there's a close relationship between the Bahamas Customs Department and the Royal Bahamas Police Force. We no longer operate in silos. We are part of one country. Our purpose is the same: to protect, to preserve, and to make our people safe. Drilling is only one aspect of the cooperation that you're going to see amongst us. I say amongst us because it extends beyond the police force. It also includes the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, the Immigration, and the Prison Department. You're going to find that you are part of a strong, uniform company in the Bahamas. And so it's good that you are learning early that you must be disciplined. You must learn how to drill, because beyond collecting revenue, you also must participate in national events. I need not mention that Independence celebration is going to be in July, and I'm going to be looking forward for most of you to be a part of custom contingent. And so today, I want to thank the Royal Bahamas Police Force, Commissioner, for assisting us in this regard. I want to thank all of you trainee customs officers who demonstrate so smartly your commitment to this country and your willingness to be a part of a disciplined uniform branch.
That is all for this week. Thank you for joining us. Join us every Wednesday as we continue to bring you coverage, highlights, and information as we continue to do what we do best, linking people and government.